What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today with my preview of the 2023 NSCC coming up here in just a few weeks out in the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. To say I am excited for it would be an understatement. This will be my fourth national. And today I'm doing a preview video. Now, there are literally hundreds of tips videos out there already. And there's the essentials: wear your comfortable shoes, shower daily or more if necessary, bring snacks, bring water bottles. All of those I can 100% reaffirm. That's all true. Today I wanted to dive deeper into 5 specific areas of the show and give what I'm calling the realistic guide to the national. Tell you about my experience from the past 3 nationals that I have been to and what I have found and what I would also expect for this upcoming year. I'm sharing these experiences to help in kind of setting the expectation for what you may experience going into it, and hopefully will help you have a more successful show in whatever your goals may be. So why don't we go ahead and get right into it? The first area I'm going to talk about is pricing. This is the area that I think I see most asked about among everything. On every tips video I've seen, or every Q&A session, pricing always comes up quite a bit. Why don't we start off with deals? Are there deals available at the National? Yes. Are they always easy to find? No. Can you only get good deals if you go early on in the week? No. Are there good deals on clearance on Sunday? Yes. Do things tend to get picked over on Wednesday and Thursday? Yes. Does that mean that there aren't good deals still available throughout the week? No. And here's the reason for all of that. So Wednesday, when you walk in, it's a clean slate, right? All the dealers have out their cards they brought with them. Nothing's really been picked over yet. There haven't been a lot of eyeballs on a lot of these cards. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, on Sunday, dealers are packing up. They're about to head back. Some of them are going to have to pay to ship some of their stuff back, and they don't want to have to do that. And you're going to see a lot more motivation, I guess, to sell, especially in your bulkier items, the things that might take up more space in a back of a U-Haul or in a freight carrier if they're sending a lot of stuff across the country, depending on where they're from. There are some blowout discounts that you might see on Sunday if you stick around for the entire week. But the deals are not exclusive to those 2 days. That's kind of a misconception that I see. Some of my best deals that I have made came on Thursday or Friday morning even. There's some that have come on Friday evening. There's even some on Saturday. Usually Saturday is kind of my wrap-up day. I don't make too many deals on Saturday, but regardless, you're going to be able to find things. And why is that? Well, not everybody is looking for the same things as you. Not everybody is going to notice every single card on the show floor. I'm going to discuss that a little bit more in depth later on. But just because there are a lot of people that have looked at it doesn't necessarily mean that they're interested in it, that it crossed their mind that, hey, this might be a really good deal. And maybe they don't even get the dealer's attention. Maybe they just walk away, or maybe they're low on funds and want to save their funds for something else. Plus, dealers are constantly restocking their inventory. Table space is valuable space at the National. The dealers there are paying large amounts to set up. And because of that, if there's an empty spot in a showcase, chances are it will not be empty for too long. Dealers want to make sure that they have as much in there as possible, because if a card's not in a showcase, the likelihood that it's going to sell, not too great. That means that you're going to see a lot of new cards that dealers either brought with them that didn't make the cut to put out initially. Usually a lot of their cheaper stuff, a lot of dealers are going to put their best foot forward. They're going to put their best cards out because they're trying to make as much as possible for the entire week. You're also going to see things that maybe they pick up from people who come up to them trying to sell, or cards that they happen to buy from other dealers, or things that they pick up at trade nights. I see a lot of these dealers who do attend the trade nights. Some of them even sponsor trade nights as well. And you're going to see them picking up stuff at those events. There's constantly new cards that are going to be flowing in. So you might actually walk past a table every single day of the show, and they're going to have something new. Not every table, but quite a few of them that's going to be applicable. Aside from the deals side of it, let's just say that you're looking to buy a specific car. Let's go with a Hank Aaron rookie, for example. You've got your budget, you're looking at a PSA 2 or 3 or an SGC 2 or 3, whatever your preferred grade may be. You kind of have a price in mind of what you want to pay. I'll tell you right now that a lot of the people selling Hank Aaron rookies, none of them have a bad looking one. What do I mean by that? Everybody's 2 is the nicest 2 you've ever seen. Everybody's SGC 3 is undergraded. I don't know if I've ever, well, I have met a few, but I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've seen someone kind of dog their own card or a dealer dog their own card and price something low VCP. Chances are it's going to be high VCP on your vintage cards, especially those like the Aaron rookie and the cards that are in kind of that category, your Hall of Fame rookies, the ones that are some of the most popular cards out there. And because of that, I would say get ready to pay high VCP or even above VCP on some of these cards, just because a lot of these dealers aren't too motivated to move off of their price. There are some that will cut you deals, especially the more you buy, the better they'll do. That's the case for a lot of dealers out there, including myself. I'm not going to be set up, but it is true. And cash is king as well. If you have cash ready to pay them now, that is going to help your case in whatever you may be pursuing. But I would not expect to find many examples of an Aaron rookie or any card kind of in that realm at low VCP prices. If you're going for vintage, say that you're going after ultra modern football and you're looking for a low numbered prism parallel, if you find one, I can pretty much guarantee you that it's going to be priced above all of the last few sales. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's a card that's probably high in demand and a card that you don't see too often. When that happens, dealers can ask whatever they want. But I wouldn't expect to get it for what the last one sold for. That might be more of a challenge. That's just something that I've experienced. It doesn't happen every single time with this, but from looking for cards myself and also looking for cards for other people as well, that's what I ran into most often, is that usually when they end up with something, they have to pay top market price for it. But if it's a good quality example and you're happy with it, don't be scared to pay that. And also don't expect there to be good deals all over the place. It's not going to be where you could walk up to any table and find an absolute steal on something, especially something you're looking for. You got to look for it. You got to work for it. If it was that easy, then, well, there'd be a lot of people just sweeping up tables and you'd see a lot of buyouts very early on. And dealers as well, they'll tell you this. They pay a lot to set up. They have a lot of overhead costs. Sometimes they are going to price their cards and in a roundabout way make you pay for those overhead costs. Be aware of that. It's something that is taken into consideration by a lot of these dealers, especially some of the veterans out there who know exactly what it costs to set up at this show. Let's go over to the selling side of things. So we talked mostly about pricing and buying cards. Now, if you're going to sell cards, actually, I just realized I skipped number 2. So why don't we go back to number 2? If you're looking to use your phone to look something up, and this ties into the next one, which, spoiler, it's selling, or if you're looking up recent comps on your cards that you're looking to buy, I would be very cautious about solely relying on your cellular data and your internet. I will say from personal experience, both times I've been to Chicago, the Wi-Fi and internet access was 10 times better than what it was in Atlantic City last year, where there were so many dead zones and the internet was very unreliable unless you were willing to pay for it. Does that mean that it's 100% reliable and you won't run into any issues? Absolutely not. You want to go in ahead of time knowing kind of what you're looking for, kind of knowing what the price range on those cards are if it's something specific, or even in general, use your experience, use your knowledge. There's a lot of cards out there that I can look at. I don't need to look them up to feel that they are underpriced or to feel that they are not something that I can really negotiate on. And also use your context clues as well. For example, something that I will do is say that someone has a base Justin Herbert Prism rookie, and it's priced double what they typically sell for. If they're double on a card like that that is transacted often, chances are they're going to be pretty high on everything else that they have as well. Not always, and it's not that black and white, but that's one of the tools I use, especially if you see, say, there's a Burrow, a Herbert, and a Jalen Hurts, and you know all those, and then there's a Trout rookie as well, and they have a Luka rookie, and you see all these different cards in there, and you know that all of these are overpriced, then that's a good indicator that there's not going to really be any bargains to be had, or you're not going to be able to probably get a price you're happy with. So use those context clues to your advantage, and that can also kind of help you determine which dealers are a bit more flexible as well in their pricing. You can do that through observing them as well in their interactions with other people. If someone comes up to the table and they're trying to negotiate on something, might give you insight into how your negotiation that you're about to initiate might go as well. But actually using your internet to check prices, it can happen. You're not going to be shut out from the internet. It's not like it's a no internet zone, but it's also kind of a waste of your time in some sense. Of course, time is money. Money is time. If you're using that tool to help you avoid overpaying for a card, whether it be VCP or alt or 130 point or card ladder, or whatever your preferred price checking method may be, that's great. But if the Wi-Fi is slow and you're spending a lot of time looking up those prices and you're constantly doing that over and over, it's going to eat up a lot of time that you could be using looking at other cards. This is something that we'll say time and time again. And by will, I mean a lot of content creators and a lot of people who go to the show. Show floor time is valuable time, and you want to make sure that you maximize it to the best of your ability. So you want to have cached data on your phone, meaning if you have like an online spreadsheet or something, or you use something like trading card database, either save a cached version that basically has your data without having to access the internet to get to it, or print it out. Bring pen and paper, write it down, have a handwritten checklist. That is reliable. I know that it might be kind of old school, but it's reliable. Put it in your backpack. It will save you some time rather than looking something up. And it's also, for me, it's a little bit quicker in some cases than using the Wi-Fi. That's pretty much it for that. Again, is it going to be as bad as Atlantic City? I don't think so. I think they'll be more prepared, but there are going to be a lot of people using that, meaning that if you're trying to call or text someone as well, might be a little bit rough in certain spots of the show and certain times of the day, depending on the traffic. Now let's go over to selling. If you're looking to sell your cards to dealers, I personally have never set up at the National before, but I set up at a lot of different shows. I will tell you a few things that will make your experience a lot easier and perhaps less frustrating as well when you're going to sell your cards. If you're going to sell something, know what you want for it. Don't say, hang on, let me look it up really quick. Know what it goes for, know what you need to get for it, and offer it up. And also, I'm going to use the analogy of putting a square peg in a round hole. If you have let's go with a base 2014 update Mookie Betts PSA 10, a card where it's transacted very often, the market price of it is very much determined. There's not much debate on what it's actually worth. There's a lot of them that sell in every grade weekly, meaning there's not a lot of ambiguity there. If you're trying to get 20% above that price, I wouldn't bring it because no dealer is going to pay you that. It's just not worth your time, and it's also not worth their time. And that's not to be rude or a jerk and tell you not to bring your cards to sell, but you're going to have to go in with the expectation that these dealers are going to offer you less than what they go for. And in some cases, they might even lowball you. Say that you have a card that sells for $100, you're looking to sell it for $80, they offer you $50. They're just trying to make money on it. And I get it, it's half of its value. That might be frustrating. That might be discouraging, but be the bigger person. If a dealer is rude to you, I had a dealer one time who looked at my card and said, no, I don't want any of this crap. Pretty much in that tone. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, I'm not going to start an argument over that. There are dealers who are just unpleasant. And the best thing to do is to just be the bigger person and walk away. Uh, there's no sense in harping over it or having it dampen your experience at the show. Walk away. Best piece of advice I could give you with that. Let's go over to networking. So that's kind of your show floor time and what goes on during show hours. Outside of the show, there are a lot of events that are going on. There's more and more events every year. I don't know how the trade nights are going to be handled this year because it's been the Wild West the past 2 years. In 2019, I don't remember the trade nights being nearly as rampant, I guess is the is the best word, or popular as they have been post-pandemic times. There's certainly been a huge uptick in the card exchanges that are going on after show hours outside of the show floor. And there are a lot of things that will be posted on social media. A lot of the people who are sponsoring their own trade nights. The only one that is officially sponsored by the National, I believe, is on Thursday night. That's the Kentucky Roadshow Card Collector 2 trade night. That is the only officially sponsored event that I am aware of at this time. If I am wrong, please correct me on that. But there are going to be more of them out there. And there might be specific trade nights as well. My buddy Mike at Cards Across America, he told me about a Star Wars trade night that is going on. I know that Gelman, who's over on Twitter, he's a big wrestling collector, said that there's going to be a wrestling only trade night. So there will be different niches if that is something that is up your alley. I'm sure that there will be more that I haven't even discussed yet. And what I might do is I might try to put together a spreadsheet or a Excel doc, a Google doc, whatever might be easiest, with the details of all of the post-national or post-show events that will be going on. But check social media, ask around. That's going to be your best way to find out where these things are going on. And also in terms of networking, the golden rule applies. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. If you're polite, if you help people out, say that they're you're trying to go through a box together, don't cut them off in the spot that they're going into their box. Don't reach in front of the row they're going into. Practice common courtesy. Don't block people's showcase of your Pelican case. Don't just set it right there. If the dealer tries to set it there, have them set it off to the side. Dealers, if you happen to watch this, don't block your showcases with people's Pelican cases. Set them off to the side. And don't interrupt the deal that's going on. If someone's negotiating, you can get a dealer's attention, make sure that they're aware that you're there and you're interested in something, but don't interrupt the deal. Don't be rude. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. It will go a long way. You might meet some new friends at the show. I know that every single year I've developed a deeper friendship or made new friends with people every single year that I have gone. And I highly doubt that will be any different this year as well. So carry yourself in a polite, respectful manner, and it will be returned to you. There are some jerks out there. It's going to happen. Just don't be one of them. This is my best piece of advice right there. And I'll tie it all together with time management. Again, show floor time is valuable time. You don't want to be wasting your time, but that doesn't mean that you need to be on the show floor from the time it opens to the time it ends going nonstop. In fact, I would advise against this. I often feel burnout, and that's personally because I am more of an introvert. I feel drained after being in large crowds like this. And usually after day 2, I need to step aside for a little bit, have some time alone in the hotel room and just decompress. That's just how I am as a person. But I'll find that often when you're looking at cards and you're wandering this giant maze of different vendors with a bunch of different cards, and sometimes you see the same cards over and over again, it does tend to start to blur together. You kind of start to normalize what's going on around you in your head, and you might not be paying as close of attention. You might have some disassociation that's going on. Do you ever drive down the highway and 5 minutes later you think to yourself, I don't really remember going past that exit? It's kind of the same thing with the show. You walk around the card show, you go down an aisle. I don't really remember what was down that aisle. Then you got to go back and check it out again. Take breaks because it's good for your mind. It allows you to reset It allows you to think about deals that you might be looking at. Now, if something is a really good deal and it's something that's tough to find, do buy it. That's a very common tip. A lot of times there are cards that you want to think about and they are gone by the time you come back. I've had it happen where a card was gone within 20 minutes of me walking away. And it sucks. You don't want to miss out on something. That doesn't mean that it's going to ruin your show and you're not going to be able to find something you want. I can pretty much guarantee that you will be able to find something that you want, even if you miss out on something. But don't allow yourself too many opportunities for that to happen. If it's something that you know is tough to find and it's a price that you're comfortable with, even maybe if it's just a little bit above what you want to pay, you have to kind of assess, is it worth walking away or should I go after this? Use your time wisely as well. If you are someone who does walk away, write down that booth number, because the worst thing that could happen is that that card is gone and you spent half an hour trying to find that booth again and you're just aimlessly wandering. Write down your booth numbers, write down what you were interested in. Even if you want to be specific, write down which of their cases it was in. If you talk to a certain dealer, because a lot of these guys are going to have teams there, remember who specifically that you talk to. If they have like name tags or something, I've actually seen that where dealers will have name tags. It might be able to help you out, or you can write down the name of the dealer in addition to the booth number. But that is going to help you when you go back through the show floor, perhaps the next day or later on in the day, being able to pinpoint exactly where you are and being able to use your time to actually negotiate and look for the cards rather than aimlessly wandering trying to relocate something that you previously lost. Take good notes and it will go a long way. That can be pen and paper, it can be on the notes app in your phone, but you want to do that. And also, if a dealer is really busy, if they are working on this massive deal and there's someone that you want to look at, unless it's something that you are really interested in, walk around kind of the square that you're in or the aisle that you're in and come back. You don't want to just stand there for 15 minutes while they're trying to work on a deal, because that's time that you could be looking at something else. And I get it. It sucks when you can't get to these dealers. And that kind of goes on the other side too. If you're someone who is negotiating, if you're someone who is selling to a dealer or trying to trade with a dealer, be aware that while your time is valuable, their time is also valuable. They are there to sell cards. They are there to conduct business, and you don't want to hold them up for what is an unreasonable amount of time. I'm not going to tell you need to be in and out in under 2 minutes at a table. That's not the case at all. But do be respectful of their time. There's going to be other people who are coming up looking to talk with them. There are going to be other customers who are also trying to negotiate deals. It's disrespectful to them to also try to monopolize a dealer's time where you're the only one who is being helped for 30 minutes or so. These dealers are trying to make deals and please everyone and make as much as possible. Be aware of that. And again, it's the golden rule. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. It will go an immensely long way for you overall. That is my realistic guide to the National. Again, this is from my own experience. Perhaps others have had different experiences and they want to weigh in the comments down below. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with things I said? If you'd like to add your own tips or extend on some of my own, love to hear what you have to say. I'll see you next time. Take care. Stay safe. Be kind.